first story I ever wrote worked. Not kidding. It was a complete fluke, but I thought, oh my God, it's so easy to write stories. And I was quickly humbled by the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. I had just kind of done this thing where I had a story idea, I had a structure, a form, and I put the two together and it worked. And sometimes that happens and it's magical and it's exciting and it's definitely encouraging. And what happened with that story is it got me into a couple of festivals where I got to work with mentors and so on. So it didn't get published, but it did have a kind of, I did get some leverage through it. It was like a portal. But I had this real aspiration to write stories, and I did learn a little bit from those mentors. They were very brief, kind of week-long workshops. But I didn't know how to integrate what I was learning. I didn't know how to take the idea of character and incorporate it into my story. And as a result, I'm not just character, but setting and so on and so forth, point of view. As a result, my stories were, aside from that fluky first one that worked, they didn't work. They were disjointed. They had, they may have had through lines, but their point of views slipped without me knowing. I changed the voice to describe something instead of keeping it true to the character. I didn't think so much about motivation. There was a little bit there, inklings there, but mostly these stories, they weren't working, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And I want to, that's a me word. That's a word that I've used throughout my life, is what am I doing wrong? When actually I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I didn't know how to write in a kind of integrated way. And why I say that is because so much teaching out there, and even though I structure my class is a little bit like this, but I bring in a kind of wholeness, is that we learn character, we learn point of view, we learn setting, as though they are different things. But the thing with writing a story is that there's an interrelationship between all of the elements of the story. And it doesn't just live on its own. There's a kind of, the best kind of writing has this really dynamic, incorporated, and by incorporated, that word incorporation includes the body. So this really embodied, integrous work of the pieces that come together. So if you are at a place where you're feeling like, why isn't this story working? What is it that I'm doing wrong? It may be that you don't have the skills to integrate, to bring the story what it needs, and you maybe are getting little pieces here and there from wonderful summits and wonderful teachers, but not committing to the integration process, the process of bringing it into your work and weaving it in and finding out through feedback, through conversation, how can I make this story work? So when you're in this place of, is my story like, am I doing something wrong? Just ask yourself, is there something I need to learn and need to integrate into my story to make it shine?